to Warrior Supercast on Waycross. This is the podcast to keep you up to date with what's going on in the Winton Woods City School District. I'm your host, Dana Gagnon, and today we have with us some guests to talk about the importance of preschool. So I have right next to me Mr. Jeremy Zistler. Thanks for coming in. I have your mom, Nicole Zistler. And I also have the principal of the preschool here in Winton Woods School District, Elizabeth Stiles. Thank you, all three of you, for coming in on this summer day before school has started again. We get a little bit of time to talk about school and what's so important. And the reason you're here with us, Jeremy, is because you did preschool at Winton Woods. Now, what grade are you in now?
Third.
Okay, so you are now a third grader. What was it about preschool that you did? Was there anything about preschool you think helped you get ready for the next grades?
Knowing my months and my days.
Okay, that's important. You had the chance to be in preschool and get your brain all ready for that learning in kindergarten and first grade. Did that help you?
Yes, and maybe.
Maybe? Why don't we talk to your principal, your preschool principal, for a few minutes? And Elizabeth, tell me a little bit about what your goals are with preschool students, like Jeremy was, when you get them and what you're getting them ready for.
Our goal is really to make them well-rounded little individuals that are ready for kindergarten when they head into there. So we're not just looking at the academics of do they know their numbers and their letters and can they have their pre-reading skills, but we're also looking for social-emotional skills where we really are working with our kids on playing with each other, working together to solve problems, and the approaches toward learning. Can I sit down and accomplish a task that might take a little bit longer? Can I work through my frustration of if it's hard at first and I don't know it? Can I, sit there and work through it or ask for help? Do I have skills for that kind of thing? So we're really looking for all of the aspects of a great learner.
So when parents are hearing about preschool and getting your kids ready for kindergarten, it's not just a question of do we know alphabets, do they know colors and numbers, but also do we just know how to be in school? Mm-hmm. And so what kind of difference do you see? You get to watch, you've watched all kinds of, each year you get to watch another group of students go from your preschool into the kindergartens. What do you see when you see kids get there that were in the preschool and kids that were not in the preschool?
You see a lot of the foundational skills, where foundational pre-reading skills, so they know how to, and some of children who haven't been to our preschool can too, but you see, they really know how to look at a book and tell a story from a book. They know how to ask questions to learn more about things. So if we're learning about the weather that's going on right now, they start asking questions. What happens during weather? Where are these animals going? Why? So children that have been through our preschool really are digging deeply into content that you don't see necessarily otherwise. And then you see children who are used to sharing space, sharing toys, sharing time, and enjoying that and working very well with other kids their age.
So just knowing how to be a student.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to learn stuff if you don't also have to figure out how to sit in the classroom at the same time. You think?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm glad you think so. Now you, Mom, have had more than one student go through these preschools. So can you tell us about their experience?
Absolutely. So three of my children have gone through the preschool program at Winton Woods, and each of them did 2 years of preschool. And exactly like Elizabeth was saying, just learning how to school, learning how school works and the school programs. And I think preschool also helped them with their inquisitive nature. So being the weather helper was always a big deal, being able to help the teacher. And I think it laid such an important foundation for them. And having that consistency, having that nurturing relationship, but still in an inquisitive environment was so important for all three of my kids. And they had different teachers, and all three had great experiences. So
That's really good to hear, because it's not just, well, I had one student and they had this one particular amazing teacher, but I can't really tell you about the rest of the program.
Right.
You can really look at a broader sampling of the program.
yes.
Now, do you remember your teacher from preschool?
Yes.
And what is the favorite thing you remember doing with your preschool teacher?
I remember, like, my favorite thing to do was circle time. And that's when we get to share a box. We have this box. It's about these two kids. They're like the same age, and they help. I used that, and they helped me, think about the world.
Do you remember the name of your teacher?
Miss Shelley.
Miss Shelley. That's a good teacher if you still remember her name even when you graduate and move all the way up to 3rd grade. That's pretty good.
That's a name I can remember when I'm 50 years old.
When you're 50 years old, Miss Shelley, we will always remember. That's fantastic.
And he really actually had a really, really great relationship with Miss Shelley. So each of my kids had Miss Shelley for at least 1 year, and she came to family parties, and it was really hard when my youngest graduated from preschool and went to kindergarten. There were tears because the preschool program had been a part of our life for a while, and it was hard to kind of give up that strong support and connection that we had had that time.
Now, Elizabeth, the preschool program right now only has so much room for a certain number of students, but that is growing. Do I understand that?
Yes.
Okay,
that is
so
the
tell me about
plan. So we have a lot of families, in our district, which is awesome. But we right now are housed within one of the primary buildings, and there's just not enough space to serve all of the families that want to be a part of our program. So the plan is, once the new larger buildings are built, to renovate the intermediate school and to make a preschool village that is large enough to serve all of the families in our district, because they all deserve it. They all deserve a great experience like that. And like Nicole said, I think it's really a great entry into the district. It's a little more laid back. It's a little more casual in the relationships that you get to have. And I think it's a great way for our families to enter into the district and to get into a comfort zone and to get somebody that can help answer those questions when they start heading off into kindergarten and the older grades.
I do think that's really important. I'm hearing about relationships in preschool. I'm hearing about just learning how to be a student in preschool, and that parents wonder sometimes, is it too early to do academics? Too early. But there's more than that than to get ready for kindergarten.
Absolutely.
So the chance to arrive at kindergarten and not be worried about how do I do school is a tremendous advantage. And do you expect to see a difference having a whole generation of students come from the village all having had the same kind of preparation?
Yes, I think it'll be amazing. I think our kindergarten teachers and above will love us.
Well, that's a good thing, because you went directly from there to kindergarten. And do you think that what you did in preschool, Jeremy, helped you in kindergarten?
Very much, yes.
What are some of the ways you think you are more ready for kindergarten?
Like, almost everything helped me. Like, we had a thing there that it was like a pole where we would, like, help each other climb. And so that really helped me with teaming with and helping other people that don't know how to do stuff.
That's a really good example.
What about like rhyming words? What would you do with Miss Shelley about rhyming words?
I learned the sound, and then I learned the word. So that really helped me.
Okay.
That's excellent. So you learned some stuff that helped you in school, like rhyming and sounding out things, but you also learned how to be part of a team and ask for help, like when you were climbing that pole, you said. That sounds like you learned some really good stuff in preschool. Now, Elizabeth, we have this preschool village idea now that you've mentioned. What do we know about when this is going to come? And I don't think we have final answers yet, but what do we know?
Right. We don't know exactly how long it'll take to renovate, but we do know that once all of the other grades move into the new buildings, we'll be still at Primary North, and so we'll have a little bit of space to add a few classes then, and then we'll get to full capacity when we move into the intermediate school.
Okay, so we'll see it slowly increase before it gets to be a big, completely district-wide preschool village that we get to get really excited about.
Correct.
Jeremy, if you knew a little person who was going to go to preschool for the very first time and they're nervous, what would you tell that little person?
So there's this like corner where we always go when we're new. And when we always feel like we don't have the confidence to do what we wish we could do. So I would always go with them to that corner to help them like know this school so they could like, you know, like learn the possibilities of stuff they knew but they didn't like know how to do it. So that's really helped me with everything. I really know that school, so I really know like every feature and stuff.
Okay, so they need to find a friend when they get there, and they can know that it will be okay because they won't be doing it all by themselves. Excellent. Thank you. That was very good advice for little preschoolers coming in.
The first time I went, I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do it? So like I was always nervous to meet new people. Like once I saw them, I knew they're like really nice and they wanted to be my friends and stuff.
Is there anything else about that either of you want to tell me about what you would want other parents to know about preschool at Winton Woods?
I know they have a 5-star rating, which I think is amazing, especially coming from daycares that also do the same program. And a lot of times you see them bragging about 1 or 2 stars. And so I would say for our public schools, it's amazing to me that we have such a strong program to support our students. And I know I already mentioned it, but just feeling socially and academically prepared when they entered kindergarten. They knew how to be a student, but they also knew how to ask questions. And so I still remember one of the things at preschool was talking about authors and illustrators. And when we would get home and read books, who's the author, who's the illustrator? Because it was ingrained in their brain to just always look for those things. And that to me is something that doesn't necessarily appear on a checklist, but as a parent, I was grateful that they were looking at those types of things.
That's great, and you do, and there are other preschools, but they aren't all doing the same things.
Right.
And while some of them are doing good things, knowing that the Winton Woods Preschool is a 5-star rating,
Absolutely.
and it has the same goal of getting them ready for the Winton Woods kindergarten is very important to know that, looking into it. How about, Elizabeth, is there anything else that you want to make sure we know about preschools at Winton Woods?
Oh, well, I think emphasizing the vocabulary. We really focus a lot on that. You hear Jeremy talking here, and he's got some awesome words that he's using, and he's very well spoken. I think we can learn a lot from him.
Absolutely. I have learned a lot from you today already, Jeremy. Thank you.
We've only been reading for I would say 20 minutes.
Yeah, and I've only known him for 20 minutes, exactly.
Yes, and vocabulary is just so important for the questioning skills and pre-reading skills. It's a lot easier on students and children to read when they have an extensive vocabulary, and I think that's something that our preschool really helps our children with.
Yeah, that's the pre-reading. Before you learn how to read, you have to learn how to get ready to learn how to read. So that is another important thing to cover in your preschool.
And the first thing you learn is the author and illustrator. And then you learn the words. Because if there's really big words, you sound them out. And then you know who the illustrator is. So if you if that's your favorite book, you just keep reading and reading. And you know the words better and better when you keep reading. So that is one of the things I did to help me.
Do you think you liked books more after you learned at preschool about authors and illustrators and things like that?
I just knew the words because I was like, whoopity-doo, for preschool.
Mm-hmm. That's all you needed to know, right? That's fantastic. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming in to talk to us today. I don't want to end until I mention a couple important things. The first thing I want to say is a lot of information about everything in the school district at wintonwoods.org, and that's where people should go if they need to know more, if they want to keep an eye on what's coming up with anything. The most important thing on anyone's mind right now, first day of school, right?
Yes.
Yes. Do you know when the first day of school is?
19th.
That's right. It is August 19th. You heard it from Jeremy. The first day of school is August 19th. There is actually going to be the chance for professionals in the community to clap in students on the first day of school to give them just that sense of positive energy as they go in to start school for the year. So if you want to know more about the August 19th clap in and sign up for it, or any more details about getting ready, forms you need for school, all of that is at wintonwoods.org. So make sure you go to that website and find all that information. And I want to thank all of you, Elizabeth and Jeremy and Nicole. Thank you so much for coming in to join us today. You have been listening to the Warrior Supercast on Waycross Community Media. I'm your host, Dana, and I look forward to meeting with folks again next time to find out what's going on in the Winton Woods City School District.
So you putting in effort. Are you ready for the new